Heyo guys, it's Raldan, and I am going to give this a shot at trying to stream a arena run. I know it's something that a few folks I think might be interested in, just to kind of see how my mind is working for card selection, that kind of thing. I did just do a rogue run earlier today and went 8-3, which isn't too bad. In fact, it made enough gold that it's paying for this run right here. So I think we're going to go with rogue here. In all honesty, warrior just doesn't really impress me because it relies on getting a very, very specific set of cards. Okay, we get to start out with a very nice card here, although, if I was going to get a purple, I would really could think of 100 other ones I'd prefer to get other than these three. Doomsayer isn't bad. It's kind of counterintuitive for a rogue because I'm usually the one who wants to have lots of minions out early on, especially if I can get some of those Defias mercenary guys. Blood Knight's not bad, but I don't really have Divine Shield myself. Patient Assassin I'm probably going to take, although stealth is great and all, but one life dies to just about pretty much it dies to any area effect attack in the game, which makes it a little bit less useful than it otherwise might be. This is pretty easy. Deadly Poison is just completely a Rockstar card. Not a big fan of the Berserker as a rogue. If I was a priest, I'd probably take it. I just don't like the Stone Tusk Boar. Charge is great, but 1/1 is just not efficient enough as a card. So another easy choice. Ooh, silence. You can never have too much silence in this game. This is the first tough one because I love the Scarlet Crusader. 3 attack for 3. Divine Shield means that it's going to take at least 2 cards or 2 resources from your opponent to take out. But Cult Master, rogues live or die off of card draw, so go with that. Oh, how nice. More silence. Okay, the next hard choice. I love Betrayal, but it takes a little bit of setup to use. The Warden, great in most decks. Rogues, I'm probably going to want to be a little bit more aggressive than that. Bloodsail Raider is just generally good. I can hope to pick up a good weapon later on and really get a nice attack bonus off of it. Okay, this is another interesting choice. I love card draw. I love the Swamp Ooze. 3/2 for 2 is great, especially when you're trying to be really aggressive. It pretty much trades for most cards that cost 3 or less, which is pretty good since it costs 2 itself. And it's just gravy if you can actually kill an opponent's weapon as well. That can be really, really useful. Probably would be more useful if the classes that used weapons were more popular in draft, but hunters rarely might have a weapon. Druids never have a weapon. It's kind of just something where the current state of the game makes it a little bit less exciting. But still, 3/2 for 2, good card. Drawing cards is good. Taunt is so good. I love the Bodyguard because 5 attack with Taunt is just really, really nice. If I was going to round out some of my more expensive characters, I really couldn't do worse than getting some bodyguards. Okay, Backstab I just don't like. I just don't. Zero is great. It powers combo cards. That's its biggest thing. I don't have any combo cards yet. I don't want to gamble too much that I'm going to get them. Frostwolf Warlord really isn't that bad. It usually is a 4/4 or 5/5 for 5. Not bad. In the really good circumstance, you can get it to be much more powerful than that. Okay, Headcrack is just fantastic. Oh man, this is the draft of the crappy purple cards. Crab is not useful outside of a Murloc deck, which I'm not going to be doing in a draft. Sea Giant is good in other decks. I probably am going to end up taking it anyways. Preparation, it's nice that you can get something out a little bit earlier, but it's really it's not a card you want to draw at the very later in the game. because I mean there's a point at which it becomes useless. So I mean you're kind of taking a crap shot. You have one in your deck. You don't really want to draw it late in the game. It's only really useful in very specific circumstances if you draw it like right at the beginning. I don't think it's consistent enough. So 8/8, really can't complain. Oh great. Questing adventure. I mean, this guy in the right circumstance can close a game out by himself. Stormwind Knight is really, really good. I mean, you might not necessarily think so, but usually with the charge for 4, he's going to go and kill something and then survive, which usually leaves him as a 2/2 or 2/3 on the table. So, I mean, you can almost think of him as like a 2/2 or a 2/3 that like comes into play and kills an enemy character. We're going to go with the adventurer, though, because in a rogue deck, I've got a lot of cheap cards that can really, hopefully, boost him really quickly. Okay. Here's another good one. I've always really liked the Raging Worgen. I mean, 3/3 for 3. Your opponent really does not want to attack him with anything that won't kill him. And if your opponent has anything that has an attack of 3 or less, then that whole gaining Wind Fury thing just gets ridiculous because you can attack into something so that he gets damaged himself and then basically get a free extra attack. Okay, Assassinate. You can, I mean, trades for stuff. Man, they're really giving me a lot of silence this game, which I am not complaining about. Yep. Not really much to say on that. I like the Restless Rocketeer, but I mean, it can be good to close a game out. I'm still feeling like I'd like to have a few more cheap things, so I think we're going to go with the Razorfin Hunter, just to get a little bit more meat on the table early. Area effect spells, always good. Spell power, great thing for rogues. I mean, it's kind of ironic in this game that I think the classes that use spell power the best are not ones that you would think. Let's see. Not gonna have any secrets, so that's kind of useless. This pirate sucks because when is that a battle cry ever useful on turn 1, and when would you ever want to draw and play a 1/2 character any later than that? So I mean, this is pretty obvious. Now this one's kind of an interesting thing. Shadow Step is a great card. It sets up combos, lets you reuse abilities, lets you take someone who's damaged and say toss them back out again. I think I'm going to take it simply because with these Ironbeak Owls, since I've got 2 of them already, it basically becomes an extra silence that I can use. Okay, now this is good. I was hoping I would get a weapon this game, and that is pretty much the one I wanted. Okay. Now we're kind of getting... Sap is a card that I like because it lets you kind of rush at the enemy, but at the same token, I mean, there's a bunch of creatures that you don't want to sap in the game because if they have like a nice battle cry, you're just giving your opponent the ability to do it. I think if this let you bounce either an enemy or your own minion in your hand, it would be a lot better. But I mean, as it is, I'm going to take the Fairy Dragon because, again, 3/2 for 2. This one's kind of nice because it can't get pinged by random abilities early on. Cheap taunt characters, always good. Really like the South Sea deckhand. And Rogue is probably the one class with your hero ability that you're guaranteed that you're going to get a weapon out early on. Not usually as big of a fan of the Berserker simply because, I mean, I like that he's 2 costs for a 2/3. He has an enrage ability. I might end up taking him this game simply because, yeah, I think I'm going to probably just take him just to give me a little bit more early beef. Oh, thank God. Acolyte of Pain, card draw. That's the thing I've been kind of missing this game. Another Shadow Step. And our last card. I'm not overly enthused with this draft so far. I mean, I think it's probably, if I'm going to guess, this is probably going to be a 3/3. It's got just enough good cards that I could see this working, but I don't know. It's just something is telling me that this is not going to be that effective. am looking over what I've got here, and I just really didn't get any of what I'd consider to be the key draft cards for rogues, and that would be combo cards. I mean, I don't think I saw a single Eviscerate. I didn't see any of the Defias, I think, what's it? Not Cutthroat, Mercenary. The 2/3 that gives you a 2/1 as a combo. I mean, that guy is just completely ridiculous. I actually ended up, it's kind of funny, despite the fact I'm playing Rogue, I'm looking at the cards, and I mean, this is almost an entirely neutral deck. I think the only thing that would really stand out that says that this is a Rogue deck is probably going to be the Assassinates. I mean, those are the most obvious Rogue things, but everything else is pretty generic, so I don't know. I mean, it's cheap. It's got a pretty good. I'll have a good first 5 turns, and that'll pretty much decide the game. So let's see how this goes. Okay, hopefully I get an opponent here pretty quickly. It's a little bit before 9 p.m. Eastern time, so I mean it's pretty prime time all across the U.S. So I usually found this is actually not a bad time to be playing Arena, because honestly, I think if you stay up too late, then you hit a point where you're pretty much just going to be going up against other diehard players. Whereas like right now, you stand a pretty good chance you're going to maybe run into people who are a bit newer at the game. Okay, this is an absolutely horrible starting hand. I really don't want any of these cards. I want my 1 and 2 cost characters. And that'll work. With luck, the Sea Giant will see play fairly early, and with even more luck, he won't get assassinated. I'm fully expecting, because it seems to happen every time, to see Coin and then the stupid Defias Cutthroat guy giving them a very, very early lead. Oh, wow, I'm actually impressed that didn't happen. Oh. It's actually pretty good then. That means that I get to get the first creature down, which will hopefully let me kind of be able to set the pace for the game with luck, my goal is to, against another rogue, would be to never let them attack back at me. And I can most successfully do that simply by killing their stuff every turn as it comes out. Definitely like getting the Acolyte of Pain onto the table early on, because that puts him in a situation where he doesn't want to put any creatures out that have an attack less than 3, because he really doesn't want to set me up to draw more than 1 card off of the Acolyte. And he knows that, so it kind of puts him in a bind, though, because he most likely doesn't want to just sit here and do nothing. So, yeah, I mean, that makes the most sense for his plays there, but he's now taken 4 damage and really doesn't have that much to show for it. Yeah, so this is not going to be all that good for him, unfortunately, because this is going to let me do this. Finish that off. I'm honestly, I don't really care that much about my own life right here. I'm going to win by simply trying to overwhelm him, and by, I mean, if we're going to be racing to 0, then I just have to stay a little bit ahead. Yeah, that's usually the last thing that they want to do is have to spend 2 mana to take a damage to make you draw a card. That's generally not considered to be a winning strategy at this. So right now I've got a couple options. I really don't want to blow my Ironbeak Owls. Those guys are going to be what's going to push through, because he's going to at some point start dropping Taunt, and that'll be the point at which I pretty much start answering him with my silences, so that he actually can't stop me from killing him. So this is a good turn to use all my mana up, get the Frostwolf Warlord down. He's a big guy. Now if he comes back next turn and doesn't do anything, then I can play a couple guys, pump this guy up to, you know, a sizable 6/6 or a 7/7, and, you know, take a swing. So I mean, that's definitely, he's going to be under 15 life probably by the end of the next turn, unless he's got like an Assassinate or something. he does have a lot of cards in hand, but I I know most of the cards that rogues have, so yeah, I mean that's not exactly the most exciting of plays for a. I mean, using a silence to make a 5/5 guy turn into a 4/4 guy is. I mean, there certainly are better ways or better things you could do. Man, we're actually getting close to the Sea Giant coming out and playing, but for now, I think what I really want to do on this turn is... Yeah, let me think for a second. I want to kill a Spellbreaker because I don't want it to kill my Warlord. The 4/4, I mean, I can still beat him down with that pretty well. So I think we're going to trade. I'll take the 4 damage on that in order to be able to drive that in. And then this will let me start getting these head cracks going. And I mean, at this point, for the rest of the game, I mean, barring there being some incredible combo that I can play on my turn, I'm just going to try to basically head crack him into the ground because I'm ahead on life. So if I can just hold him off for a few turns, and I've got, guys on the table, I've got taunt, I've got more taunt, I've got a decent weapon. I can put out an 8/8 probably within the next turn or two. So, there's really no reason to not just keep drilling him for 2 and just basically trading everything else on the table. That puts him on a clock and will cause him to have to take risks that he probably would rather not take. Right now, I'm hoping he plays a taunt creature, especially one of those high toughness, low life taunt creatures, because that's pretty much what I'm geared up to deal with right now. If he plays some sort of really, really, really big guy, that would probably be the thing that would give me the most pause. Yeah, I definitely prefer seeing Eviscerates hitting stuff like that rather than hitting me. It actually isn't too bad of a situation. I'm going to let my Tauren take a little bit of damage here because I want to get the Enrage going. And then this will set me up. I can basically use the Assassin's Blade, finish this guy off. I don't like rogues. Again, as I mentioned earlier, I don't like them having spell power. And then get another head crack. So, he can kill my Tauren this turn with 2 mana and taking 5 damage, but I don't know that he wants to put himself down to 10 life. That, especially because I've got 3 more whacks with the Assassin's Blade, which is 9 damage by itself. Plus I've got head crack, which pretty much means unless he's got ways to regain life, his clock on this is that he's either got to win the game or do something pretty incredible in the next 3 turns, or he's going to die. And I'm looking at my hand, and I'm seeing that between a Booty Bait Bodyguard and Assassinate, 2 silences, that I probably can last 3 more turns. And at this point, all I have to do is just beat him down. His best option would be to have something that just kills my Tauren straight up. Yeah, that's not going to be good for him because, that is not what he wanted to do, basically. Because as scary as an 8/8 is, I just assassinate it. And then I hit him for 3, and then I hit him for another 2. So, he's kind of in trouble right now. Rogues don't... a priest or a shaman, they can do 20 damage in 1 turn. Rogue, not so much. Yep, and this is going to be game because I just silence his taunt, hit him, and then head crack him again, and he's dead.
Here we go.
And that was game 1. So hopefully that gave you a little bit of an idea of what this deck is capable of doing, which is you put on some early pressure, and then you rely upon your silences and spells and weapons to try and finish them off later in the game. Okay, so I guess we can just keep going. Not sure on the format of these videos, whether it's going to make more sense later on to split the matches up or just upload this as one big long stream. I guess we'll see how long this goes and determine it from there. Okay. Now this is actually the kind of opening hand that I really don't mind seeing. I'm actually probably just going to keep this because I'm seeing turn 1 getting out a Patient Assassin. Or possibly I'm actually I guess we'll see what I draw. I would not mind, to be honest, getting Questing Adventurer out on turn 2 and then just start going crazy after that with boosting him and seeing if he has an actual answer. So we're going to give that a try because I get the Questing Adventurer out turn 2, and then turn 3 I can do some trickiness with Shadow Step. There's he could kill it. There are a handful of tools in the Paladin. He could reduce its life to 1 and then attack it and trade his Novice Engineer for it. I'd accept that. It'd be 2 cards for 1 card, but he drew a card, so it'd be a fair trade, I guess. I'm not overly attached. However, if he doesn't kill the adventurer this turn, then it's going to turn into a problem for him. So, I'm gonna cross my fingers and hope he doesn't do it, because that will make this game substantially easier for me. Because I can, with Shadow Step, I can turn him into a 5/5 next turn. Okay, now that was just a confusing play. That really doesn't net him anything at all to have done that, but, I'm not really sure what to say. People do strange things sometimes. So, yeah. We can drop a Patient Assassin. That'll boost him. I Shadow Step the Assassin, which boosts him because it's a spell. Oh, and then I play the Assassin again. Nice.
Quest accepted.
And then I hit his guy. And the reason I did that is because if he does, Paladins, they have 2 ways of killing things. One is to throw a hammer at it, which he might have. The other is to reduce the life down to 1. And then hit it. So, but as long as he doesn't have a guy out, he can't actually do that. So that was me taking a little bit of a risk, but it is definitely paid off. So now's the point where I can start getting crazy with this stuff.
Quest accepted.
We'll hit him.
Here we
I'm not quite at the point where I'm seeing a whole lot of benefit in going into crazy shenanigans with... he could have a Consecrate. There certainly are cards he might have that he could use to gain some advantage in this case, but I guess we will see. I'm fairly happy with what I have in my hand at this point. I can start basically dropping a guy and doing a head crack every turn for pretty much the rest of the game at this point. So, this is probably going to be the turn that will decide how things go. If he can wipe my board, then we're going to have a game. If he can't, then this is going to start going south for him pretty quickly. Trying to think what he might have in his hand that he hasn't played so far. He probably has some of those 4/3 charged Divine Shield guys, but they cost 6. So, I'm imagining he's hoping to, if he's not thinking of killing everything all at once right now, that he's thinking that, hey, he can use those guys and start wiping my board out. But that's just a sign that I'm going to need to start dropping some taunt out there to prevent him from being able to do anything like that. I mean, I generally never put anything past people at this point because maybe he has a Consecrate in his hand and he's just not thinking about playing it. Okay, well that just makes no sense. I mean, I'll just be honest. That's kind of got my my head boggling right now. So yeah, we can pump him up a little bit more. I'll pop that guy. He can take an attack. Get a head crack. That'll make... Yeah, so here's that area where that questing assassin just starts getting completely silly. Like I was saying earlier, I mean, it's one of those cards where, I mean, it's kind of unassuming. I mean, it's a 2/2, but, you know, you set him up right. You've got some of the other right cards to go with him, and you can pretty much ride him to victory. I mean, now he's in a little bit more trouble because I'm trying to think. Yeah. Problem with Paladins is they don't really have much that does much more damage than what we're looking at right now. Easiest thing I can do right now. Let's see. I do kind of want to make sure that I'm continuing to boost his strength. I wanted to get him into a range where he can't really do anything. Easiest way to do that is just to keep pumping. And definitely want to keep the pressure up on his life. So, as you can probably see right now, he's in a little bit of a bind. He has to do something about the adventure this turn, but Paladins tend to lack. The problem is if he kills the adventurer, then he's going to get hit for 9 plus my head crack and dive to everything else. So, I mean, he's at a point right now where he can play a board sweep and kill still not enough guys to actually save himself, or he can kill my big guy that he's worried about and still probably not have enough to do anything. And considering that he doesn't have anything to attack with this turn, I'm trying to think, I mean, what could he do? He's got reduce his strength to 1. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Well, actually, this deck is working a little bit better than I was anticipating. I mean, despite the fact that I really, I mean, I had probably one of the worst selections of rare cards that I've ever seen in a draft with a rogue. I mean, there's so many umpteen better cards I could have drawn, and practically nothing really goes all that well with the rogue mindset. I mean, you might think the stealth assassin seems roguish, but honestly, that guy works a lot better if you can give him charge. You really don't want to give your opponent the opportunity to, I don't know, arcane explosion, swipe, whirlwind. I mean, it's like every class has something that if you draft, you would draft it if you could, and you would be playing it, and you'd probably be holding it specifically to deal with guys like that. This isn't a bad hand for going first. Don't really need the assassin in hand. Biggest problem with the Iron Beak Owl is against a mage. Way too easy to die. I mean, yeah, I mean, his hero power basically is kill an Ironborn Owl. I mean, I mean, the silence will be useful later in the game to drive a bigger attack home, but I mean, as a body on the field, that's really not what I want right now. The cleric I don't mind because that will 3/3 is just big enough that it's kind of a pain for a mage to deal with, and the fact that it boosts another one of my guys makes me happy. So this is the point where I like the patient assassin. I'm happy that he's patient. I wish that he wasn't a 1/1. I mean, I'm pretty sure that if things work out well, I might be able to do the Patient Assassin and the Shattered Sun Cleric on turn 5, get them both out at the same time. Okay, now that's got to be one of the more confusing plays I've ever seen in my life. I'm yeah. Whoops would be the correct response to that, I would say. Okay, yeah. So now we're gonna change our plan bidder. I would never in a billion years have expected that, but I mean, yeah. If he wants me to start hitting him for 6 on turn 3, then I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth. I mean, he does have significant card advantage. I never really put it past him, but I mean, that was a pretty bad mistake. That's going to make this significantly difficult for him because it's not that he can't deal with it, it's that he's going to have to blow something. Oh God, this is just hilariously unfortunate for him. I actually almost feel bad. Yeah, I mean, holy cow, that's very unfortunate. So this is one of the things I really like doing. I love Cult Master and then trading, but it's not really a trade because you get a free card off of it. I mean, I could have just swung at him, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I figure, I want to make him have to waste something significantly expensive and that he'd want to be saving up in order to kill this berserker that he nicely damaged. I will be honest, I really don't like Elven Archers in most decks. I just think the effect on it is just too weak. I mean, it's not that it's not. I mean, it's actually quite good for a 1-cost card. It's just that I don't see the benefit, to be honest. I mean, I just don't see why. So, I mean, a few different secrets he could have. I'm going to go with the... It could be the thing that kills the guy when he attacks him. I'd rather have the Cult Master die. Yeah. I mean, honestly, at this point, I'd rather hit him for 6 than hit him for 4. Rather him not getting a chance to stack too much in the way of damage up. And I mean, we're kind of at a point right now where, I mean, he's not going to have, let's see, he could have Blizzard. Blizzard only does 2 damage, though. So I could play the Acolyte of Pain, but honestly, I don't need cards right now. I'm in a position where I should be able to kill him with what I have in my hand, so I just need to, I'm just racing him at this point. Yeah, that probably wasn't what he wanted to be spending his coin and everything else doing for several turns in a row. Because it's not really like that's going to stop me all that much. Because all that means is that I get a 4/3, I hit him for 2, I hit him for 2, and then I hit him for another 2. So now he's on a very, very, very short clock because he knows I got the head crack, and yeah. So that would be a game where, I mean, he definitely had the tools to be able to stop a rogue. I mean, 2 arcane explosions is pretty ridiculous. If he, had like a spell power +1 guy or something, I mean, he could easily use that to control the board. But I mean, he had to have known pretty much he'd lost that game the moment he pinged my guy for 1 damage. Okay, well, I know I had said I was going to go 3 and 3 with this, but I guess I could lose 3 in a row, but I'm hoping. I mean, maybe this is my shot to do a 9-win rogue streak on the arena. I've not actually done that before. I've hit 9 with Druid. I've hit 9 with Hunter. I've not done it with Rogue. So, I mean, this is a pretty good start. Well, this really isn't that bad of a start for hands. I mean, normally I would ditch the Sea Giant, but I've got my first 4 turns laid out here. Druids tend to play lots of critters as well. The Sea Giant might actually see play on like turn 4, turn 5. And I mean, really what I'm looking for in my opening hand is simply the capability to, know that I've got something to do for the first several turns of the game. I mean, as long as that's true, I'm usually pretty happy. Also, as you probably, when I'm playing a rogue, I mean, I know this seems like, it's like, you could save the coin for something, and it's like, no, I want to start getting, I want to start out aggressive. I want to take control of the game. I want to be hitting him while he's sitting there growing his mana and stuff like that, because druids become a lot harder to start to hit the longer the game lasts. I really want to knock him down to a total where by the point where he starts coming around and playing his ridiculous cards, that we can get to a point where it's like I can feel like, hey, too little, too late. Oh, that's kind of an unfortunate guy. I mean, I'm not the hugest fan. I mean, he's 4 or 5 with no abilities. He's just a chub. Doesn't even have a taunt. But I mean, it's enough to kind of slow me down right now. However, it's not enough to keep me from. I mean, I can still ping some damage off at him. That's good enough for me. He'll be able to trade that guy for one of my guys, but actually, he'll probably be able to trade that guy for both of my guys. But I mean, that's. Fortunately, it won't be before they do damage to him.
Don't mess with Tusker.
Come on, attack the Berserker. Oh, no, he's not going to be nice. Well, I mean, this does give me an opportunity to basically
Job's done.
I mean, again, he can trade, but I'm actually I'm not as worried about trading with him right now. Oh, well, until he played that just makes me sad. I really did not want him to draw extra cards. And there's that stupid Swamp Ooze, with even getting the chance to get a little bit of a bonus off of him. That, again, is very sad for me. However, I don't want him drawing any extra cards, and definitely, I really wish he hadn't of, like right now, if that wasn't for the stupid Swamp Ooze, I would just pump my dagger up and basically take a hit to trade for that. But
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
now again, I know he's going to be able to trade, but if I hadn't done that, he simply would have cleared out my Ironbeak Owl with his shapeshift ability and then hit me for 7, which I'm not really a big fan of. I'd rather feel like I'm trading with him than. Yeah, this is probably over. I'm trying to think of even what I could draw right now that could pull this one off, and it's pretty well coming up as a blank. What am I going to need to do this? That's that combo of things that works so well, is being able to drop spell power and then drop a spell. And Swipe is probably one of the best spells in the game for that, because of the it kills something, but with spell power, I mean, that 1 damage to everything else turns into Significantly more than 1 damage.
It's time for a little blood.
I... Yeah, the only thing I could think of that I could draw right now that would save me would have been... Let's see. Yeah, I would have had to have drawn the... Yeah, even then that wouldn't have saved me with that 6/7 out there. Oh well. Go out with a bang, I guess. Assassinates are just too little too late.
Well played.
Yeah, it was a really good play on his part, that turn with the cult leader, because that's actually usually what I would like to... I would have liked to have been in the position to have done something like that, but it just was not really meant to be. I think I'll do one more and then finish this up for tonight. I can always come back tomorrow, I guess, win or lose. But I feel like this video has been going on long enough. You're probably tired of my voice on talking about this deck, which really is not that exciting of a deck. I know it's just classic. I mean, like in Magic, this would be very similar to just a very basic, I don't know, a goblin deck or something like that. I mean, you're probably going to know if you're going to win or lose the game within the first 5 turns, because you're going to be able to figure out whether or not you were able to obtain enough of an advantage at that point to push the rest of the way.
Watch your back. I will be your death.
Now this actually is the kind of hand that I don't mind. Again, against anything that can just straight up do a point of damage, I'm not really a big fan of the owl early. I'd rather draw him later. Also not a big fan of assassinate early game. Takes way too long before you can actually play it. Usually there's not going to be something, you're not going to want to play it right on turn 5. That you're typically losing if you're playing assassinate on turn 5. You want it, that's your card to save for when they play their 8 or 9 mana guy, not when they play their 4 mana guy. And this is the classic thing. I'm a rogue going second. I'm going to have the coin. I really wish any of these 2-drop characters had instead been the stupid combo guy, but again, not really meant to be. However, so I don't have any direct damage spells. I don't really need to get the kobold. So we'll get the berserker out there. Maybe he'll equip his weapon and deal 1 point of damage to it, like that mage did, and that would really make my day. Or he does that. That works too. Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, he's kind of got a little bit of an advantage in terms of I'd rather get hit for 3, or I'd rather get hit for 2 than get hit for 3. So I'll accept that trade. Now, the one thing I do like with the Geomancer is, I mean, it really makes those head cracks hurt. Actually, my constructed rogue deck is built around stacking all the spell power creatures together along with eviscerates and head cracks. And, I mean, it pretty much just, if they don't have like a board sweep that's significantly powerful enough to kill Dalaran mages and Geomancers and stuff like that, then... if you get to a point where the head cracks are doing like 5 damage straight to them every turn, that it kind of becomes, it gets a little bit hard to for them to cope with that. So I kind of see my next turn planned out pretty well. I just really don't like the stupid Tauren warrior, so I'll attack him first because I don't want to get hit for 5, and then I'll again take a trade. But what that does for me is I've got my weapon. Next turn, I'll boost it to 2, drop the Bloodsail Raider, and it'll drop down as a 4/3. And I'll have the potential to either deal 2 damage straight to him, or right now I'm crossing my fingers. I hope he plays something that has a toughness or a health of 2 or less that I can actually kill, and then that will give me a kind of like swing the tempo of the game back around to me. And that's unfortunately not quite what I was looking for. So we're gonna modify the plan slightly. I really don't want to just throw my guys right into the poor jaws of that stupid serpent thing. So I think what we might be doing instead is we're gonna go ahead, we'll silence him, and then we're still gonna get the blood cell rare put out, and I'll just accept the fact that it's going to come out as a 2 rather than or as a 3 rather than a 4. Didn't attack this turn. I've got the mana. Next turn, I want to have the mana. I don't want to have to be wasting my mana just to pop the Dagger Mastery again. Yeah, that was a good trade for him. But again, now we're pretty well even on cards. I mean, I'm a little bit lower than him on life, but I mean, I know what I've got in my hand. I know that it's not that bad, so I can't really complain too much. I think this turn we're actually gonna, I think we're gonna start getting the head cracking going. So get the Worgen, we'll get the head crack, and yeah, I'm only gonna have 6 mana next turn, so I'm actually okay with hitting him. I'll probably be spending my 2. I'll probably be getting a weapon, playing the South Sea deckhand, and then head cracking him again next turn. Unless he plays something huge. Yeah, that doesn't really count as huge, so I'm not too worried about that. Yeah, Jungle Panthers are annoying, but okay, so gonna sacrifice my body a little bit for the sake of killing his guy, but you know,
Here we go.
use my nice charge, and then 3 damage to him to the dome, and then we'll get another head crack going. Honestly, this game could go either way. I'm pretty happy with having the. I mean, again, there are rares that I would rather have than the stupid Ravenhold Assassin, but
Attend me.
Ready, sir.
you don't always get to pick and choose. Now, this is actually something that. Now, this is where I think he made a mistake. He really should have killed my my guy. I mean, this is exactly what I needed to have happen to get back in, because this guy has that, and now he's got Wind Fury. Now he trades, kills that, and now I get to
Here we go.
kill that as well. Drop a Fairy Dragon and head crack him. And see, I mean, I did it in that order. I know I took a little bit more damage. I really want to save the Assassinate. If I can stay ahead of him on the board, this Assassinate is going to come in handy later. I didn't want to blow it killing a 4/2 creature.
I usually work alone.
Really? How? That's mildly hilarious. I'm almost insulted that actually worked. So sad. Okay, so again, this is where the Assassinate's going to come in handy, because I like assassinating him. I get my dagger out.
Here we
I plink the Murloc. I'm getting a little bit lower on life than maybe I would like, but I'm counting on a 7/5 guy to be able to make up the difference pretty quickly. The fact that he's at the point of dropping Murloc Raiders and stuff like that makes me think that he is also running low on interesting things to play. let's see. This turn, we're going to probably get a bunch of guys out. I want to get my taunt out. Get silence. Yeah, we'll get my taunt. Get a fairy dragon. We'll head crack him.
Here we go.
And I'll punch him. And now it's nice because I've got the shadow step, so I basically have an extra silence I can use. So depending on when he drops here, I can silence it again. Unless he drops something that lets him also kill the owl at the same time. That's a possibility, but I mean, seriously, Fairy Dragon, is there anything that your ability actually does stop from happening? If there is, I don't know what it is. That was my mistake. I should have put the Fairy Dragon in the middle. I honestly wasn't really thinking about betrayal. I should have been, but you know.
Handle it.
Oh man, yeah. Yep, that's probably going to be the thing that cost me the game then, because I really needed that. Let me see, is there anything at all I can do? I don't have a way to draw any more cards. I'm going to get hit for 11 next turn. I have no more taunt. Yeah, I really should have put the Fairy Dragon in the middle, because then he couldn't have done that. He could have killed 2 out of my 3 guys, but not... Or he could have actually only killed 1 guy with Betrayal. That would have been a hell of a lot more convenient for me. And then he could have killed the other guy with his attack, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that was just a mistake. Yep. Yeah, I think we're just gonna end this. Firecrack him. So it's really no reason. He doesn't have anything to do. I'm not sure why he hasn't killed me yet. I guess I could concede. Not just concede. Sometimes I like giving people a chance to kill me, because it's I figure it's more fun when you hit them to 0 and they explode rather than when they concede. But I'm also not just gonna sit here and let him overkill me, because, you know, why bother? Well, in fact, it might turn out that my prediction of this being a 3 and 3 deck is in fact entirely correct, but I guess we'll have to find out tomorrow, and we'll see. This is Reldan again. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was not incredibly boring, but yeah, I'd like to do more of these. This is actually kind of fun. Okay, bye-bye.